The tenacity of T1 is what always overcomes against D+, and they've just always crumbled at a certain point in the series. That's why you saw it so T1 favored towards the latter end of the last few years. It's just been a little bit of a wash, and I think the stylistic difference is going to be a big problem unless D+ can get their act together. Let's see whether they can as we dive into pick and ban for game number 1. First pick going over to T1 here as D+ get their favorite side in the blue side. We'll see whether they continue to pick that. They were experimenting a little bit in their last series, but it looks like they're back to their blue side ways.
The good thing for D+ is that I don't think they want Korea to play Bard, and they really don't want Keria to play it. So
there you go.
It's you know, it's a mandatory ban against Keria for most teams, but at least you don't feel like it's a detriment for yourself. As the Ambessa will get taken away. It's a fantastic pick for both Shiyu and Lucid. I really like this ban here for T1. Let's see if the Varus gets a look here. I think the Pantheon was expecting it actually to be banned by D+, and be taken away first off. And no Nocturne here, but the Orianna has been the stronger pick as of late in the trade that we often see in Game 1 between the Orianna and the Azir. And Showmaker's Azir also has left us a little bit wanting.
Yep.
So we'll see if that's a trade they want to go for. They are going to ban the Varus.
Yeah, I kind of thought this was going to be the way. Like, giving over the Rumble has been a thing that D+ just kind of like doing these days. I don't like it, personally. I feel like Rumble is still extraordinarily strong, but they have been successful against the champion. Doran's still going to lap it up, obviously. It's a fantastic champion, but let's see what Shiyu's going to be picking into it.
They'd rather have the Orianna themselves, and so they're just going to say, we'll give you something that you think is too strong to refuse taking, right, and give you the Rumble, and then we'll grab that Orianna ourselves. And with the Vi banned, Rumble Vi is no longer as much of an issue. Obviously, you're not worried about that specific combo. There are other strong picks that can empower this Rumble, but that's the big one.
Yep.
And now we'll see the great ball carrier picked up here early in the Jarvan.
And Jarvan really is one of the best junglers that's left up and available, right? There's technically 5 junglers that have already been banned away. And so Faker will be able to hop onto his Azir. We know how incredibly good he is at this champion. Although they didn't win their Azir game last time they played. It was the Azir Ornn composition, if you remember, that we didn't really like all that much against the Orianna comp. But I believe that time around, the Rumble went the other direction. So this will be a little bit of a different story as the Xin Zhao for Oner. Happy 5th anniversary for Oner, by the way. And he is going to be on one of his signature champions.
Yeah, crazy to think it's been 5 years already since that crazy Dany 10-man roster.
Yeah, right.
And now it was the mainstay towards the end of that 2021 period, and now he's just been the fixture ever since. He says he never wants to leave. He wants to be a permanent jungler for T1. But enough about Oner, as we will see the Cassante picked up here in response to this Rumble rather than the Ornn in this draft here for D+ Kia. So our top sides are locked up. It doesn't get more T1 than this draft, right? Faker on is here, Oner, Xin Zhao, and then whether it's Doran or in the past, Zeus, the Rumble here on the top side is a classic. Now to see what goes on in the bottom lane, we really only have the Bard and the Varus taken away. Everything else is up and available. Sivir, a lot stronger for the side of D+ Kia here, just simply because they have the Jarvan on their side. I don't think Paze is interested in playing that. Jhin, definitely worth a look.
It's an interesting one, though, because I don't feel like Jhin is the champion for either of these players. I think probably more for Paze than it is for Smash, but it's an odd ban. Lulu to be taken away here does cut down a couple of the hyper carries, as Yunara was still up and available. Yeah. No one decided to pick her up yet. That Lulu is going to hamstring that pick just a little.
I do think taking away a lot of those range supports makes playing the Yunara lane a lot easier, just simply because you can even play Alistar with it if you want to, if there's just no way to really pummel you in the lane. The Jhin is gone. We'll see if they ban. Okay, they're going to ban Nami. I was going to say just the Lucian straight up could have been the other way to play this. And we may end up having Corki versus Yunara, but the Sivir is still a strong possibility here for D+, because it gives you a lot of wave clear, a lot of scaling, and empowers this composition, especially the front line of it, incredibly well.
Yeah, I wonder whether we are going to see a look at the Yunara regardless of all of these bans that have come through to a lot of the supports that she does like. And by a lot, I mean Bard, Lulu, those two being the ones. Nico is still up and available. That is a big deal. Maybe something that T1 could look at, but instead the Karma going to be taken away.
It feels like we're looking at a Corki Nico lane versus a Yunara lane of some type.
Yeah, it could be the way. Unless D+ decide to lock away the Nico now, assuming that it is high enough priority to do so. You can always pick the Alistar into it. It's something that Keria has done in the past to a fair bit of success. And I don't know whether you'd want to just blind pick Alistar here, because I don't think that you're going to stand much of a chance in that lane regardless here for D+, but definitely not if you're taking a cow down there.
It's so clear that this entire decision
is
being made by Smash, right? Like, you see the camera shot, you see the angles, you see CV Max trying to give him his take, and Smash ultimately makes the call. He's going to pull out the Ashe. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be Ashe Seraphine, and Ashe Seraphine will be gone for the rest of this series, so throwing the gauntlet down early here, but it sets up Orianna combos really well if you can hit anyone with an arrow. Yeah, obviously the Xin Zhao is going to absorb a lot of that pressure, but really any other target here feels great.
Wow!
Pulling out the Zeri straight up here with a
Yuumi into a face-up Ashe Seraphine?
Okay.
Isn't that just complete suicide?
It is definitely a huge risk, I would say, in this draft year, and it's a statement from T1 to say Smash basically 1v9 and pulled D+ across the line in their series against DNS to get here. And FaZe and Keria are like, yeah, we like to just tangle with this guy. We think we're strong enough, we're better than him enough. That will actually make the bigger impact here in this first game. As there is not a strong traditional frontline for this series, but there's a lot of peel. The healing that Yuumi can provide, the shielding, obviously, the survivability she's going to have is pretty high to be that hyper carry in team fights and break through the health bar of the Cassante. And without a consistent damage dealer in the mid lane, and with Ashe Seraphine here, you're going to be reliant as D+ at setting up big charm combos. You have the ball carrier here in the Jarvan. You've got an insane front line with this Cassante for the Ashe to play around. But if you don't kill FaZe or Faker, they're two big threats. And even the Equalizer can mess up your zoning and prevent you from actually getting that big combo off with the Encore to start off the fight and then look for that follow-up ball play. I think there's a lot more of a ceiling to T1's composition, but damn, is it the harder one to play.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I do not understand picking Zeri Yuumi at that point. I don't get it at all. Maybe there's something that they know that I don't. Maybe I'm just a dumb play-by-play. I don't get the fact that Zeri Yuumi just hard counters Ashe Seraphine, one of the most oppressive lanes that you can possibly have in League of Legends. But one thing I do know, and that is, I hope Korea gets his notebook out to take some notes about this Yuumi play, because it didn't look so great when he debuted it this season. Let's get on the Rift here for game number 1. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1. Wolf, how does T1 start a team fight?
Well, it's going to have to be very carefully, I would say, and with a lot of strong zoning from Doran. Because when we get into these team fights, obviously they don't have a traditional engage. They don't have a Nautilus here. There's no top lane that can go for a flank to set up the engage or get onto the back line. Not to mention that their main target, the Ashe in this case, has some pretty good self-peel in the fact that she's got slow, she's got her arrow, she has a Seraphine that's going to be on top of her, and then there's a Jarvan, could put Cataclysm up, and there's an insane Cassante frontline to fight through as well. And so it's tricky, but Faker can also be the one who turns fights. If all the tools are down here for D+ and FaZe isn't caught, then the engage is I press R on Zeri and I kill all of your health bars. Yeah. And if you can't lock me down, by the way, there are a lot of tools to lock him down. You can't lock me down, then I will wipe everyone. And that's why this comp is looking like, if we took the nameplates off, we'd be like, well, this was not the choice I would.
Yeah, no. Wouldn't be the one I would have made either. With all of the Enchanter bans, though, it was going to be a very difficult situation if T1 did want to try and win the lane. So instead, I guess what they're saying is, well, we're going to lose.
Mitigate.
Let's lose with something that's going to be able to figure stuff out later on in the game. And we all know it was something that was coined by you yourself, Wolf. That is, the Zeri can always get certified. It does not matter how the laning phase went. If she picks up a triple kill in the mid game, you could just be up the creek, as it were, paddleless.
Now, I think there's a lot of responsibility, let's say, on Owner in this game to be able to really, first of all, go for aggressive plays in this bottom lane to relieve the pressure here, to also then be able to buy space and threaten Showmaker so that FaZe can get into the position he wants to. He'll then have to be able to get past the Seraphine ultimate, make sure he doesn't get comboed there. He obviously took Cleanse, and I think we will definitely see some itemization later on in this game that is about doing massive team fight. Like, we're going to see Runans, I think, in this game from FaZe for sure. And he's just going to have to basically 1v5 team fights after the engage is down. So his teammates need to make sure he can do that. And when he finds that angle to press R, he better hope he hits the targets he's looking for.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we have 3 AD carries, I think, in the LCK right now that we really consider to be this type of playstyle. And I don't put Ruler in this conversation because he's a little bit too well-rounded. But we have FaZe, right? We have Smash, and we have Diablo. Yeah. Guys who are like, I am going to make the crazy play. And they are really saying they're doing it right here, right now, in Game 1, as we have no Owner here in this bottom lane. He's just saying, good luck, FaZe. Just farm it out. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Figure it out, guys. You can get there. As we do have the Jarvan going back home, so no gank here or dive or anything like that here for D+. And as you can see, T1 actually doing just fine down here on this bottom side of the map. Better than I was expecting. Only a 3 CS gap as that wave is crashing forward. But an even game still feels like a pretty good one because I just don't understand how this composition is going to work later on in the game. Here for T1 and D+, very obvious. It's level 5 here for Faker, not going to be throwing Showmaker back, but he takes a lot of damage as he wanders his way out, refusing to press flash.
That was a lot of damage indeed, and obviously used his teleport already.
Xiu manages to find the knockback on the Q. Wants another one here as the Scrap Shield will silence Doran. No, the flash, and he misses! Oh no, Xiu takes 2 turret shots for his trouble as well. That is not what you wanted to see. However, Doran did have to flash to get himself into that position. And so I guess no harm, no foul, and Xiu just going to go back home.
Yeah, it felt like a big missed opportunity there for Xiu, however, as that's going to be a bit of a split back for career.
I like that, though. He managed to protect Smash's back as Faker going in once again. Another Dissonance doing a lot of damage here as the Clockwork do be winding up. Faker taking a fair bit of damage from those autos.
And that was, I think, not ideal for Faker there after getting such a nice advantage moments before. Showmaker didn't flash, as you pointed out, so now he has to completely leave. And Lucid is actually coming up here, see if he can find something Owner nearby. A tiny window, no way, no way!
There's no chance. He finds the flag. That's just an interrupt, though. Oh, I really thought that he might be going in there to try and stop him, but
that's huge still.
Yeah, this is the thing. Delaying the back is actually almost as much damage as now I think he's either going to have to stick around or sacrifice a bunch of these minions. There's a cannon here as well.
This means Owner has to stay in the area for Faker to get this cannon wave. And he doesn't even get the cannon. Oh, it's painful.
Yeah, he gets the experience from it, which is obviously extraordinarily important. However, not being able to get that money is a big deal. Showmaker almost a wave ahead right now.
I think the biggest win here for T1, you know, anywhere is that, well, obviously Doran living on the top side was pretty huge, but that FaZe and Carry have been able to hold their own here. Like, they are dead even in CS in this lane. This Yuumi pick is absorbing a lot of the pressure. The shields have been able to get a lot of value here thus far. And so even though Owner's been a little bit busy, hasn't actually given them any attention down there. They are just totally self-sufficient. And with Yuumi, that often is the case in tough lanes. If you play really well and you play really carefully, you don't take bad trades, you can stave the pressure off, but you're never going to have prio. And so far, that hasn't mattered yet, really, here for T1. So this pick, thus far, even though it's a little bit unusual and very risky, is definitely doing its job.
Yeah, it's kind of working out. As Equalizer down here towards the top side of the map as Xiu. Down to about 300, but he's got the all-out. He's also got a Jarvan, so he should be all right here.
Health advantage to Doran means if this became a 2v2, don't think it would be what she wants to see. That's not going to happen, though. As we have junglers on the top side of the map. Ow.
Yeah. One thing that is actually really cool about this Ash Seraphine lane, beyond just the fact that it is very, very good in lane, is Hawkshot. I mean, Hawkshot is just such a ridiculous ability. The fact that they were able to use it to spot out any potential level 3 ganks that we have seen some Xin Zhaos actually go for. Things like this does mean that you're not only pretty oppressive, but you're also very, very safe there towards the bottom side. So no real fumbles just yet, as the Prowling Projectile is going to go a little bit wide here. Keria still trying to get his eye in onto that one. Great beat drop is going to come on through there as the heals come down. As Keria's just dead. There is first blood over to Smash. He gets exhausted from the grave.
Career learns.
is now alone.
So you stop that detach, or attach rather. Once he's attached, you stop the attach, and
he missed almost every beat drop until the one that mattered.
Yep.
And that is what you got to do. FaZe taking a lot of damage here as well, as the high note will be avoided. Flash out there so that Showmaker doesn't get hit by the Emperor's Divide, but really good ulti from Faker to make sure that that Summoner spell did finally have to get used.
Yeah, and that's pretty massive because obviously in a follow-up, he's not going to have it, so Faker didn't have to flash to make the play happen, and had Showmaker tried to make something of it on return there, Owner was going to be able to flash on him and take him out. Showmaker doesn't even ult, just plays very respectfully. So Keria detaches here. And for what is the question we're always asking. We ask the same question to Career. Like, he wants to get one auto off? All right. FaZe gave a little bit of a frustrated shake of his head on the player cam as well right after this. I think that was definitely, I don't know, it's happened to Career, it's happened to Keria, now it could happen to anyone, I suppose.
Yeah.
But a good punish from Career, let's say that much.
Justice for Keria, man. Maybe it's just Yuumi. It's just really, really hard to stay alive in lane. Keria has obviously had a lot of experience on this champion, but it wasn't really the Guma Keria like type move. Remember, they were like experimenting with Siva Yuumi and things like this back in the day, and it just didn't quite work out. So it's never been like, oh god, Jin Yuumi. Oh
yeah, no.
I shudder to think. Thankfully, it's Fearless, so we never have to see it again this series from either player. So that's good, you know? There is at least that one. As Lucid parked himself here on this Phaelite, as Owner is going to make the wind become the lightning.
It's always been the thing that people say about Keria, even people who are not rooting for T1, is like, well, it's such a waste to see him on this champion because he's a mechanical god, right? But then also on the Yuumi, just decides to try to be a mechanical god and then get rooted and unable to attach.
You just need to prowl your projectiles. just stick with that. As Arrow going to connect, there's no cleanse here for FaZe. But not a whole lot more. Final chapter is going to come on down. And Keria does make sure he mitigates any sort of dive attempt. Owner going to be able to take some crab towards his top side of the map. And we've got some grubs that are up and available as well. No one really taking a bite out of them just yet.
I mean, even though it's been perma, Prio was no flash.
Yeah, Emperor's Divide comes down. Now Ono looking to make his way in. There is a Shockwave to try and buy some space, but I mean, there is a Rumble there.
Yeah, and he's got TP, so he can just go straight back to the top lane after this back too, and should be able to catch this wave. Doran is making plays on both sides. He's going to get this one, but that was as elementary as we set up when we talked about Showmaker being down his flash. Owners in the area, they knew this, and Showmaker just plays really greedy. Gets punished here as Faker just kind of casually walks up and is like, okay, I guess you're dead.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you got me? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll shuffle him.
Yeah. Remember that flash that I got before? Well, my ulti's back off cooldown, so you're dead. And that is kind of how this matchup can work. Unless you do have a lot of support from the jungle. Lucid was not quite there, and therefore Showmaker is not going to survive. He is, however, still ahead in farm, so not doing too bad. As we have Lucid coming down towards his bottom side.
Yeah, we really haven't seen that much jungle attention from Lucid despite the massive amounts of prio that they've had in this bottom lane. Like, we haven't seen a dragon get taken just yet. They haven't really set up big dives. They had an opportunity earlier on but didn't commit fully. Now Owner has the time to come down here, and there's a lot of vision, so they're not going to be able to get the punish here onto Smash and Career. We may have a delayed 3v3 here, but the fact that T1 are even in farm despite Yuumi dying, despite the fact they're playing into Ashe Seraphine, means this pick is working out incredibly well so far for them. And just don't know if D+ have utilized this bottom lane as well as they would have liked to. As Faker here is just like, shuffle, and he's like, yeah, he still doesn't have flash. Yeah. He waits for Showmaker to see if he's going to go for the ult first, and then Showmaker doesn't. He's like, okay, well, you're dead now.
And it worked that way. It was also not able to press Dissonance in time as well, and so Faker got to just like waddle up to him and managed to throw him on over. So really nicely played there, as there's an all-out here from Shiu. Let's see whether he can find Doran. Does have his flashback available, does have to use it. Shiu now has a flash advantage. 5 seconds until the equalizer's up again once more. Lucid clearing out some vision here as FaZe with his static shiv already done. Haven't seen that item in what feels like years.
I mean, you need it in this early game to be able to clear waves, and we are going to see a bit of a scuffle here around this dragon now. Owner avoids the root. They're going in.
Yeah, gets the knock-up onto Lucid. Prowling projectile is going to connect as well, but he flags and drags, gets himself out of there, was holding onto that for quite some time, and they're just buying time for Showmaker to push down this mid lane. A little bit off tempo was T1, and they do suffer for it. As the beat drop going to land once again. Arrow up and available here for Smash, but they want to hold on to it to make sure that they have that for any potential Dragon fight. But the Dragon has been started here by Owner, and it looks like DK have no real idea of going for it.
Yeah, I mean, they just really can't. I think with the situation here for T1, the amount of damage they did in that initial salvo, Lucid taking so much means that they just can't contest, and if they tried to, they might be setting up that Zeri moment you were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
Walking into that, even in this early game, Zeri's skirmish power is really powerful. Speaking of!
Yep, Zeri looking for the angle as the cleanse comes out. It flashes the arrow gorgeously, and the encore doesn't quite work out. Prowling projectile is going to miss, though, and the flash out from Korea will keep him alive, but now it is clean up Xin Zhao time, and in he goes. Picks up a swift double with the 3 Talon Strike. He had a Talon Strike left over after that one.
Pretty nasty stuff here in the bottom lane, D+. They thought, okay, well, we're going to give up the Dragon, but maybe we'll be able to get a little bit more in the lane. And these angles for FaZe, he was famous for it when he was on Genji on the pick. And he's certainly showcasing why here again, as Doran does not have Flash.
He doesn't. And he also probably doesn't have his life either, as Shia comes on over. That's a dissonance to complete the kill, and Owner not quite here in time. A little bit of an overstep. I'd say overstep. He is in his own jungle, but Doran just not really allowed to be there.
I think maybe just trying to head back over to maybe set a trap there with Faker having his ult available, but they're just, his friends weren't close enough for him to play that way. As FaZe is going to now kind of clean up his mess here in the top side of the map. But this is the level 6 Zeri all-in angle that you see in a lot of matchups. Doesn't have it at level 6 in this case. The flash over the arrow. The encore isn't enough. Is Showmaker just going to die as well?
We getting that certification
I got my paper out. I got my paper out.
I'm a little bit worried about this one. Is now Smash looking to try and get some arrows into Faker here. Who's in a little bit of trouble. Lucid comes on over. There's a great Crescent Guard, but I think Faker is still in a lot of trouble. Lucid going to be the one to pick up the kill. Korea thankfully stopped auto-attacking to make sure that he doesn't take that one. But this is the big problem, is that FaZe Zeri situation on this top side of the map at the moment. We said it before, it doesn't matter how difficult the lane can be. If he starts to grab a couple of kills in this mid game, now I have to say goodbye to that cannon.
I'm a little bit concerned about what happened in the mid lane there. We'll have to go back and see exactly how that eventuated. As we'll go to this play first. So Showmaker just way too far up here, greeting. FaZe gets over the wall, has a Yuumi on his back, and gets the slow. Yeah, that's just 400 gold. By the way, he has his quest completed, so the fact that he's in top lane, there's no detriment there, and he's getting the extra gold from the takedowns. As Faker misses, and then flashes immediately, now doesn't have his flash, and the Jarvan shows up, and he's still trying to play through this with Owner. A lot of greed. Owner's, unfortunately, Crescent Guard isn't able to push Lucid away the way he wanted. I think Faker was likely dead either way.
A little bit unfortunate there. Not going to quite find the shuffle. So Smash keeps himself alive. Now, FaZe does have Owner here alongside. This is one of the good things about the Yuumi now that we're into the mid game, is that Yuumi pairs very well with the Xin Zhao at the same time, so you can really empower Owner, who is very strong in his own right.
That's a flanking TP.
That's a big old flanking TP, and Showmaker took a little while to get there as the arrow is going to connect. There's the flag and drag. Encore connects as well. That is all the CC, but Owner didn't get hit by any of it, so the Ashe is just dead. Career down as well, and if you hadn't written it already, Wolf, I think it's time to write the certification note now. I've got my crayons ready.
It's signed. It's already been sent in. Kespa is notarizing it as we speak. I think this one is a Zeri game for the books, to be sure. One of the biggest FaZe ones so far of the year. And you asked me what the engage was. It turns out it's just Zeri kind of being near the enemy champions at this point, and obviously this is another issue here, as Showmaker is once again up too far in the lane, gets a 2-man ult, but what else is he going to do? And then here, Owner is here, so this is a 3v3 fight. Obviously the Yuumi gives you so much power here, so when they decide to go in on this arrow, look at this, he doesn't take damage. He's still not really taking damage. Oh, he's charmed. That's cute. He kills people. Yeah. And the enemy AD carry is dead, so there's no damage. And he just kills whoever's left. Lucid's like, can I do something here? He's like, no, you should leave, or I'll kill you as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. They did manage to get onto the Zeri, but Like, that's a 2-0. It was a 2-0 ones in Zhao at the time. Like, you cannot ignore Owner.
He has Runins now. He is ready to just make all the health bars disappear. Doran has outdamaged him so far in this game, so there's that. But
he has been hitting a Cassante many, many times. And there's a big old shield to get through when it comes to that guy. As at least DK, like, I mean, they can defend this turret quite comfortably, things like that. We haven't seen a first brick just yet, but it's a 2.3k gold lead, and I just didn't expect T1 to be able to make it to this stage of the game with a minor deficit, let alone a lead. Like, it's kind of insane. So FaZe now is just running amok on the map, and maybe you're exactly right. Maybe FaZe is just the engage. As all right, there is an engage from Xiu as well, looking for an angle onto Doran. He is just dancing on the equalizer, though, as the Flame Spitter comes on down as well. Flash out there from Doran, and the flash from Xiu is not going to work. It's a solo kill, as now Showmaker looking to try and come on through here. The arrow is not going to quite connect, as there is still a shockwave here. Showmaker still trying to find it. Another flag and drag comes down, but the final chapter is still there. Ulti from FaZe. And look at this. It's basically 1 versus 3, because it's a cat. It's kind of half a champion, but still they're standing their ground.
I mean, this is absolutely crazy here. He does not care. Showmaker eventually gets the kill onto Doran there on the top side without using his flash, without using his shockwave. So that's the only piece of good news here for D+. But it's Herald just going to drop down here and take this mid turret out at 18 minutes. T1 swimming in gold, and all of it on their major carry here in FaZe. A second charge here will give even further plate gold over to this bottom duo, and they'll get the whole damn turret, Atlas.
Oh dear.
Okay, looks like not quite. Not quite.
I mean, that one's certainly set up. You know, like the cooking show. Like, this is the one I prepared earlier. Yeah. That's what this turret is. That one you just need a stiff breeze, and that one will be going down. So 4,000 gold is the lead.
God. I really thought that with this draft, this setup, oh man, this is Doran. He has his Haunting Geist, which is actually insanely high value in extended fights like this. And the Equalizer did so much work. Then this flash, he gets the slow, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, it was a flash harpoon as well. That was so sick.
As soon as he flashes and hits the harpoon as a slow, that's when he calls, I got him, I got him, I got him.
And then we get to see it from the Showmaker perspective.
Doran also avoids the arrow.
Yeah. Still, Showmaker is able to come on over here, refuses to use the ult, as Doran just does his very best to light him on fire, but Doran, it does not quite work.
Gets like 3/4 of his health bar. He just took to the top lane. Showmaker's probably not too happy about that either. As another turret goes down. And I was going to say before we got into that replay, like, I kind of thought we were going to see this really hype game where FaZe has to make all these crazy outplays. He's already made a few good plays, right? But I thought it was going to be Smash versus FaZe on display, all the CC, all the setup for D+. Like, how does FaZe outplay this? And now he's just so big that I don't know if it matters. You know, with the role quests coming in, 80 carries get so much gold. When they get ahead like this, they just start to balloon. And they also do more damage than they used to. So if you try to engage on him now, maybe he just kills whoever engages. Like, nice try, Jarvan. And he just 100 zeros him with the Yuumi on his back and takes no damage because he's got a huge shield as well.
And Owner is just chasing Lucid out of his own jungle here. You can see Showmaker now getting closed in on his FaZe. He really wants to kill an Orianna, and he might just be able to do so as Owner with the Crescent Guard does come on down, but Korea is there. Arrow is going to hit his own teammate, but there's the knock-up onto Owner. He's put inside the little pen here. That's very cute. Great encore, but the cleanse is there for FaZe, who's just going to end Smash before he could do anything. Oh, God, it's one of these games, isn't it? As finally, the Zeri will go down, but not before picking up 3, 2 of which he grabs the kill credit for, and DK just reeling after that. It's almost a 5,000 gold lead, and I was wondering how the engages were going to work. I guess just walk at them is kind of the way here. Well, the thing Sand Soldier is going to disappear.
When you're basically a fountain laser, i.e. done by the way, when you're basically a fountain laser, like FaZe is in this game, and he has so many resources, you can see the moment where he calculates, like, I guess my only way out of this is to kill all of them. As he's already used his dash over the wall here. He's like, Owner's buying a lot of space for me. This is kind of an unfavorable situation. They're going to collapse on me. What if I just go in and start getting the health bars low, or the health bars already low. I just need to go in and start killing the damage. Let me kill Smash. If I kill Smash, like, no one can kill me, right? Gets on top of Smash, kills him, and then Xiu can only really help kill him because they have the turret, and they have enough CC to hold him under turret. If he doesn't get under turret there, that fight probably continues. I think T1 continued to actually force the issue there.
And they almost did, because Lucid almost went down underneath his turret beforehand. That did go down, as we said. It was prepared earlier. And so that is going to fall there as well. So 5,000 gold still, I mean, it's not like it's changed the lead or anything like that, but Smash has got like 2 and a bit items, you know, building towards his Mortal Reminder. Does not feel like the 80 carries are on even footing, even a little bit.
The damage that Showmaker has is really, I think, if you're a D+ fan, what you're praying is going to be enough. Like, if you can get one big R button pressed on, with Q and W as well, you know, all 3 of those buttons get pressed on FaZe, and there's a flag on him, maybe you kill this guy.
Well, looking for an arrow onto Faker. They will be able to find it. Shockwave is there for Showmaker, and he does press that button. Cataclysm comes down, but it doesn't stop Faker from getting out. His flash does come on through. There's the flash over the wall, and there is the Jarvan picking up the kill. The rest of T1 looking to come on in here, though, as the teleport from Doran does get him up, but the teleport out from Showmaker will allow him to escape, as now FaZe and Carrier looking for the angle. Extendo Beam, not quite going to find Lucid, but I think this Jarvan is still going to die.
He's got exhaust.
Turret here. Xiu does stand beside him, but Ona's going to be able to finish that one off. And now Xiu might be in a little bit of strife as well. Prowling Projectile doesn't quite work, as now the Crescent Guard. Ona is going to be taken down, but Ash immediately dead. This FaZe guy just doing so much damage, and Xiu really wants to find it. There's the Q to finish him off, and now Doran comes in. He's got the damage. Showmaker now gets missed by the Harpoon, though, and so now Doran could be in a little bit of trouble. Carrier trying to make sure that he's as scary as FaZe, but it looks a little different here, as Doran is going to get taken out. DK finally finding an angle in this game.
Yeah, that was definitely a moment where Showmaker was like, "Shoo, careful how close you pull back that rumble towards me." That guy does a lot of damage, as they do kind of eventually turn Doran into a pinball there and eliminate him. All right, so at what point does happy gaming become sad gaming here for T1?
No, I think it only ever gets to happier gaming.
Because at this point, okay, Faker gets caught here, and I thought, okay, he's probably just not going to flash. He'll buy some time here. Does flash to buy space because Owner is coming up, but he's not there in time. FaZe obviously looking for this play here on the follow-up as Lucid is on the wrong side of the map. And then from here, did we really need to do this? Like, Owner obviously goes for the all-in so that FaZe can get that damage done. They end up deleting Smash, but there's too much damage here. There's too much CC as FaZe eventually gets taken out.
I mean, Doran is actually a real tank. And so it is more difficult for FaZe to kill him, at least, as we got another fight going on here, as at least TK are able to take a dragon. Let's see whether they can actually keep themselves alive, though, because FaZe has a kitty cat, and he's not afraid to use it. Korea now completely separated from the rest of his team, does find an encore onto Faker, but now FaZe wants to skate his way in, and just an extendo beam is going to be enough to take down this Seraphine. So a little bit unfortunate positioning there for Korea, and he's just going to fall. And now with one dead, did T1 just do Baron?
I think it's a little bit tricky here to try to pull that off without a little bit more setup. Like, they don't have a ton of vision here in the Banana Brush. They're going to maybe try to set that up now. Baylight hanging out, and then... Or just go straight to it, I suppose.
I guess
it is T1, you know?
Yeah.
They have great turn here, right? When they do have Emperor's Divide, so there's that.
Well, Xiu's not going to be too worried about that one. Is now looking for an angle towards Owner as they go for the turn. There's a Shockwave, but it's only onto the Xin Zhao. Now Lucid in a lot of trouble. Xiu dived forward, is now FaZe possibly separated, or never mind, just in range to kill everyone. Owner somehow lives, and that is just 2 freebies here, as DK are just going to have to sacrifice the Baron now.
FaZe is making a statement about his gameplay. I think he's making a statement about the state of 80 carries in this meta. And with a Yuumi on his back, he just says, well, if you guys want to come to Baron, so be it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
This game is
1-1 12, by the way.
Yeah, this is a... I want to call it a statement game, but I don't know what the statement is.
The statement is, we can beat you no matter what.
I think it's a list of statements here for T1.
I don't know.
They look for Owner, like, look at FaZe's positioning, okay? He's just like, okay, use the engage. There's no engage. Oh, Cataclysm, I'm not, thank you. You put the guy close to me. I like to shoot him. And the rest of the team is like, well, we can't keep fighting him. I guess we have to leave, or he kills everyone. So I guess we'll just let them have Baron, and just a few kills. It was like 3 they got there in that fight.
And now, Rebel Baron power play is sitting at 1,300, but there is still over 2 minutes left on that one. Inner turret still to go down here towards this bottom side of the map. There is one in the top lane there as well. And
don't
T1,
look at the numbers if you're a D+ fan. Don't look at the numbers.
This FaZe situation is getting out of hand. He's going to take down this turret very comfortably. 4 items now completed. His Mortal Reminder is done, as now Faker could be in a little bit of trouble. The Bash Bros moving on over, but Lucid decides he doesn't really feel like it, and they need to get to this bottom lane, otherwise they may just lose the game.
Ace has cleanse, so how do you kill him?
I mean, there's a Mikhail's there as well. He's got 2 cleanses.
Yeah. How do you kill him? Let's see if D+ can solve the riddle.
Sometimes, you know, there's these riddles that seem impossible, but there is often a way.
Is it a trick question?
I just never know them.
Is it a trick question, maybe?
Well, Arrow is going to connect onto Faker once again.
Kill the other one!
Does find a little bit of an angle. Can go all out here as well as they pull Faker back. But he goes golden, and now Pays has made his way in. Empress Divide hits the air as Faker is going to get taken down by the volley. And now Pays is slowed up. Takes a lot of damage there at the same time as Lucid looking to keep himself alive. Korea almost dies. As now Pays puts down the ulti. Doran gets in there with a flamethrower, but diving this turret is a little bit dangerous. Did Pays take damage before us? Never mind. The arrows do come on through, and Lucid gets through the base gate, and now without Pays, T1 should not be able to keep pushing forward. Owner and Doran there with their little kitty cat in tow, just going to have to get out.
Okay, so bit far on that one. Not able to get out. For Pays, he does end up getting taken out there, and a lot of money does go into the pockets of D+. There's still 7,000 gold behind.
This game is silly, Wolf.
It is a little silly, but in T1's defense in this moment, like Faker obviously gets arrowed here, has his Zhonya's so he can buy space. Because they don't have strong engage, they have to use the engage on the Faker as their engage. Like, that's a lot of CC down, that's a lot of cooldowns. Pays is like, okay, this is my moment. I think I could actually clean this up here. Goes a bit deep. Let's just say Doran also, like, we didn't have to do this. We have a wave coming through. There's crystalline overgrowth on the turret, and the Pays is unable to get over the wall here, which is the real crux of this, and that's the end of the push here for T1. So they do not actually break those inhibitor turrets. Had they played it slow, I think they absolutely do. But, you know, they don't have great engage, so they were like, look, let's just end the game now before any more shenanigans happen.
Yeah, I feel like T1's engage is DK botching an engage.
Yeah, that's
kind of the way that they do it.
That's kind of how it is when you get to be a comp like this that's pretty squishy. Has a Xinjiao with GA now, so that's good for them. Totally healing and shielding. The Yuumi is like Seraphine low.
Oh no! Oh dear. Yeah, Carrier having a pretty good time, as we can see there. And I'm glad that we're seeing why this Yuumi was picked up earlier on in the tournament. It's looking like there is a good reason for it, because Carrier has made it look pretty good outside of that one death in the early laning phase. Hasn't really, he's taking that one in stride, let's just say that. As Arrow going to connect on a he's just taking all of these arrows. Shockwave comes on down as well, and just barely survives.
More shielding and healing power.
I was going to say, that one's just going to add to Carrier's stats there, as T1 looking for Soul Point.
For Infernal Soul with his composition.
Yep, and there's a teleport so Faker can get all of his health bar back and make his way back down again. Finally, the IE is done here for Smash, but man, I mean, if they had have got that kill, then it could have been 2 Drakes apiece.
Faker has just been the, you know, the arrow target, like at the practice range, you know?
Yeah,
He's like Link's training.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually have enough money to buy the Zhonya's outright just yet. I thought perhaps he did because he waited there in the base for a moment. So he doesn't have his Zhonya's back. There's still no stasis now, but didn't have to flash there. Didn't have to ult, so has both of those tools available. And it seems like we talked about how Faker could be one of the better types of engage here if this comp needs it, but him getting arrowed has been kind of the best thing for T1.
Yeah, I mean, that's absorb the engage, and then that's the engage, you know?
Yeah, I suppose that's how it's going to work when you have this much map control as T1. As Pays is engaged on.
There's the shockwave. They're going to try and blow him up as he pops down the ulti, and Lucid just doesn't have it. Finally, Pays is going to go down, and Lucid will survive. Now, Shu not dancing on the equalizer this time, but not going to hit the Q either, as he's looking to try and take down Doran, putting that Iceborne Gauntlet to good use, and there it is. Solo Bolo in the bottom lane.
Faker.
And the Shiyu Zante's coming up big.
Now, Faker is playing a bit aggressively down here towards this inner, and it looks like he has enough friends to get out. They're not going to be able to follow up on this after that kill onto Pays. They used everything there, so Faker knows he can actually push that one down. But I'm starting to feel like T1 are on a little bit of a timer here in this game, because like we said, you know, Showmaker is huge. Look at the healing that comes through as well, but there's so much damage, even the empowered autos from Seraphine. Like, you will get burst if you get caught by a combo as Pays at this stage in the game, because before you were so much bigger than everyone else that they just would never be able to kill you, and then you would just melt everyone. But now you're actually killable, so you got to be careful.
Owner is just going to lose his GA. And
I'm starting to wonder if T1 are ahead in this game.
Is he going to taxi out? using Korea as the volley going to slow him down, so he is going to survive, so just loses the GA.
But the jungler is now going to have to go home. No flash for Owner, and this should be a pretty relatively easy to play out, Baron.
I mean, look at the damage from one extender beam.
Well, if he didn't get hit by that, or if the shield was there before he got hit by it, might have been a different story.
Yeah, T1 deciding, D+ deciding that this Zeri being alive is a big problem.
I'm trying to quantify the game state, and it's really just like a binary, is FaZe alive or is FaZe dead, is kind of the game state. If he's alive, T1 are winning the game. If he's dead or nearly dead and not able to do damage, I think D+ are winning the game. Really have to watch out here because the base was never broken and T1 don't have permanent prio for this upcoming Dragon just yet. The Baron was not taken. That was defended by basically an extendo beam, as you said, from FaZe. If that Baron gets taken and D+ get map control, this lead doesn't feel as good as the numbers say at 5,000 at this point. It was much bigger earlier, but we're looking at an Ashe that's pretty huge. Look at Showmaker's build. That is not what FaZe likes to see.
Showmaker is doing the damage this game. This is definitely not one of those Seraph's Embrace type builds. This is, we are storm surging all over the place. And so I kind of like it. I mean, it's not my favorite item, but Luden's Death Cap, any day of the week. You love to see it. And he'll have a Void Staff or something like that, most likely coming up very, very soon. As Lucid keeping his eye on this Baron, making sure that T1 aren't just taking that one once again. And because this game has stagnated so much, that gold lead that T1 had has been cut in half.
Yeah, it means very little, I think, when you look at the grand scheme of things, because eventually everyone can kind of kill FaZe when everybody gets big. And it's weird to think about think about Zeri and Yuumi as kind of a snowballing win con. That isn't necessarily the case, but with everyone else getting so large in the burst and all of the engage tools we talked about,
I mean, the problem is there's just no CC on T1's side,
they can't lock people down, so FaZe has to survive till the end of the fight.
Unless someone just overextends. Never mind, Faker is hit by an arrow once again. And will be able to escape. Never you mind. She now looking for the angle though, as FaZe just dashes out of the way. Doran coming on forward, and is this the DK's engage is our engage type engage?
The Seraphine also has the Diadem completed and Moonstone Renewer, and I mean, Smash is ready to fight. He's ready to almost go toe-to-toe with FaZe if they have the setup, if they have the CC.
Oh, they are still looking for it here. The equalizer is fantastic. Shiu able to soak it, though, as he goes all out, looking for the angle. There is the golden flamethrower, as Doran will try to help take down Shiu, and they will be able to do it, and now FaZe finds his angle. Immediate double kill as he gets revenge on the bottom lane, and Showmaker is one dash away from dead. The little zaps onto the minions, not going to be quite enough there, though, so at least the Orianna can pirouette her way out of there, but I think they're going to be pirouetting their way out of this game as T1, they find the angle, and they will take down D+ here in game one.
Get a little bit impatient there, and the equalizer from Doran gives them enough space, and that is the end of it.
Yep. T1 with a composition that I was a little bit curious about.
It felt like for a little bit there, maybe T1 had, it looked like big dents, but for a moment it felt like maybe FaZe was going to be killable. Maybe if they had the right tools, if the Showmaker ult hits just one time at the right moment, Smash the clean, they get map control, they get Baron, maybe they could win the game, but in that final moment, Doran just said, all right, well, you guys went one step too far, equalizer's down, game's over. FaZe does more than triple Faker's damage in this game. Faker was just the arrow absorber.
He was.
살짝 위험하긴 하다 이거. 이거 살만해. 아래에서 쓸게. 애쉬도.
하나 돼?
나 안 줘.
사트 너플.
빠진 거 뭐 있음? 애쉬공. 애쉬 오류 도공. 애쉬도 오류 도공.
사트
애쉬 오류 도공면 지금 나가자. 될 찍으면서. 다랑공은 모르겠다. 오케이. 나 지금 나갈게. 확인. 산테 노플. 야, 나 아래 디테일 살짝 있어. 디테일 볼게. 이거 좀 잡아봐.
확인.
나 걸어 이거 공 깔아줄래면? 봐봐. 나쁘지 않다. 갈게. 앞라인부터.
확인.
나 뒷라인 볼게. 이긴 거 같아. 이겼어.
사트 너플.
잘 잡아야 해. 다른 잡고 올게. 오케이.
이거 다 잡게.
사람 피해. 잘만 잡아야 돼.